How's it going, everybody? My name is Artorigold, and today I'm going to be going over a Lucio VOD review. This is on my main account I am currently top 500 on, and I'm going to be playing on Lunar Colony. So, a few things that you should know about Lunar Colony. It's a pretty tough map for a lot of heroes, and you really want to try and synergize best with it. There are a few different strategies people use. Typically, what people are going to do, especially on defense, is basically they're going to come from two different angles. So with Lunar Colony, the team is going to either come in from the left or they're going to go in from the right. And it's pretty much going to meet at this choke point. And at this point, this is where it gets kind of difficult depending on what the enemy team is running and what you're running. For example, we have a Symmetra, so we really can't engage them. We have to kind of wait for them to come to us, and then we kind of have to let, the beams and the turrets to really get maximum effectiveness. Same thing because we're running a Reinhardt instead of like a Winston or Diva like they are, so we are not able to dive or jump on top of them and then jump out. We have to be kind of just sticking around our team and play around our team. And this is very important to know as Lucio, because what you want to do is you want to play with your team. And we'll get into that later. But for Lunar Colony, you basically have these two options where you have to go here or you have to go under. It typically kind of depends what the enemy team is defending with, because a lot of times people will get like an Orisa or a Bastion strategy right here, and they'll shoot with the Gatling gun, and they'll have to go underneath it. And a lot of people like to go this way onto the right because it's just a little bit more direct to the point, and it's a little bit harder to hit from there. But if you're on the left, you have more line of sight of the enemy. If you're holding defense right up here, and then it's much easier to kind of get a good line of sight on the enemy as they move forward, but it kind of depends where you're holding. Because we're running Symmetra, we want to just kind of let them come to us, and we want to play more like a net, and we're going to catch them as they dive into us. They have a Genji, Winston, Diva, and they're going to dive into us. So one of the things as Lucio is there's two different ways of playing him. There's pretty much a very aggro and there's a very defensive style of play when it comes to Lucio. And since you're on defense, you don't really want to be aggressive. You definitely want to be that defensive play style of Lucio. You want to basically sit with your team as much as possible, and you want to peel. So one of the things you see here as I'm doing is I'm wall riding because I don't have to worry about anybody sniping me because I know they're running a dive. And I'm just going to simply wait for the Winston to kind of dive on us and then boop him away. And what this does is it's going to basically push him away and make his bubble and his cooldowns completely useless. So here I used my 4-second cooldown, and with that I made his leap, his 5-second cooldown, and his bubble, which is like 11, 12, or 13, it's like above a 10-second cooldown. So here with one 4-second cooldown ability, I'm able to get rid of basically his entire ability. All he has is a leap and a bubble. Those are all of the moves he has, and I just made him use them, and he's pretty much just wasted it. He never landed on anybody. Instead, he's over on the side in this bubble, and that cooldown's pretty long, and he has to wait a little while for that bubble. And without that bubble, he's going to be very vulnerable, especially if he decides to leap on the point. And that's exactly what this kind of play style is trying to get. It's getting value. So whenever an enemy basically dives on you, you want to just boop them away. As soon as the enemy team uses a mobility move, such as this Winston, I just boop them away. I did it again right there. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little fancy footwork. If you can get an enemy to use an ability, that's basically what you're trying to do. You're baiting out things. So I made the Winston use a lot of abilities at this point, but here I can make the Ana waste some abilities too. So even though she has like kind of out of position here and I could get aggro with her, one thing that I need to watch out for is her sleep dart, because if she lands a sleep on me, then I'm probably going to die. So you can see right here, she uses her purple, her nade on me. So I used her nade, so that's pretty good. So all I need to do right here is kind of just AD straight and use my mobility and then just dodge her shots and her sleep dart, and she's not going to be healing her team. She already wasted her nade and she's not able to use it on her team to heal them. So now you're just going to take her attention. And this is kind of more of a disruptive nature of Lucio. See right there, she used the speed dart. Sleep dart, I'm sorry, not the speed dart. So basically I'm using my speed and I dodge her sleep dart. She uses her shot, she uses her sleep, and she uses her nade all on me. And it basically takes away her value. And then from that, we're immediately able to back up and we're able to secure the kill on her very easily. And then from there, we get our Symmetra, who's fully ramped up on damage, has a wall, and we can quickly clean up their team because they no longer have a Winston who's jumping on anybody. He wasn't even able to jump on anybody in the first place. And then their Ana went down quickly because she was not able to use her abilities properly because you basically baited her with that. And that's what's great about playing Lucio, is that you're very mobile, and if you get your movement down and you practice it really heavily, you can get the enemy team to waste their abilities on you, and you're going to come out just untouched, unharmed, maybe a little bruise, a little scratch, but you can just heal yourself up after you get to safety. And you just basically be an annoying, disruptive, kind of defensive play style, very commonly known as a peel bot, and you're basically just using your peels. So here I'm going to talk about the amp usage here. So right there, I'd use my speed amp. Why did I use it? So as you can see right here, we get actually a big kill in the kill feed. So our Pharah gets a kill, or rather our McCree gets a kill on the Pharah. And one of the things you want to do, especially as a support player, you want to track. You want to ult track, and you want to track the basically just what's happening in the battleground, right? So if you see this happens and you just constantly always look in the top right screen, this gives you all the information you need to know in order to understand things like, does my team have a one-man advantage? Does the enemy team down a player? Are we down a player? Everything. You know everything. This is the information tool to understand where your team is versus the enemy team. So that's a very important tool that you need to use. So what we're going to do is here, after we get this kill, we get aggressive. Although you want to be defensive most of the time, if you get a pick, you can easily use this speed boost on your tanks, especially like a Reinhardt. If you have a Reinhardt and Zarya who are next to each other, you simply just speed boost them and let them just hit W and swing the hammer, and you're just going to get value from that. And that's basically all I'm trying to do. So we get a really big grab here. Don't be afraid to get into the bubble and do some damage. I died a little bit there, but I think it was worth it because clearly we're winning this team fight. We used Nano and Grav. I don't think we used any other ultimates. And even though I died, I think it was worth it because our team pretty much already won the fight. And I have my ultimate, so whenever we get back here, I can use my ultimate for this next fight. Another big thing about Lucio, I guess I should talk about, is his ultimate usage. Lucio surprisingly has the longest ult charge build of every hero. Like, you basically take more ult charge in order to get your ult compared to other heroes. Other heroes take a lot less. And I think the reason why is because Lucio can heal multiple people. So if you're able to get really big heal boost amps on your entire team, then you'll get a ton of ult charge. Also, if they're affected like by an Ana grenade, same thing. So here, obviously, you want to use your defensive ult to cancel out enemy abilities. So I believe the game audio is here. Maybe I could play it for you. But basically what you want to do here is, I know the enemy Genji has his Dragon Blade. And so I'm saving my ult in order to cancel his ult out. He gets a nano boost, making him even more deadly. Simply what you want to do is especially at higher ranks, you actually have to be very careful because Genji players at top 500 are really good. And what they will do is they will get a nano blade and they will kill you before you drop your beat. It's hard to believe, but I mean, look at this animation. It takes a good second before that animation really comes off. As soon as you drop the beat, you get like lifted into the air, and then you have to drop it. So there's a good second delay. And it's just pretty much an easy window for a really good Genji with Nano Blade to kill you before you even drop. And so you have to be really careful. So you always have to have a plan. Always have a plan as Lucio. What you want to do is have a plan. Know what to use your ult against. You want to use it against high priority ults such as Blade from Genji, Shatter from Reinhardt, Grav from Zarya, right? There's a lot of ultimates that get a lot of value. These ultimates all do a lot of things. And you using one of your ult, just using your ult, you'll be able to plan ahead and know and say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my beat in order to cancel out this blade. In this instance, it's blade plus nano, which means that these are two ults that you're going to be able to cancel out with your one ult. The only difference is you need to be able to survive dropping the beat, and then what happens afterwards is you're going to be fine afterwards generally. But the most important thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you drop the beat. If you die during it, it's going to be very bad for your team. So second part, you want to be able to set up. So it's positioning. So as you can see, I basically hide behind this corner in this tunnel, and I'm waiting for it because I know he's going to blade. And because of that, I'm able to be safe around this corner, drop the beat, and then right when the beat lands, I'm able to give it to my entire team. I think the third step is just prepare. So if you know what ultimates they have because you've been ult tracking, you know what they're about to do. And what you need to do is, by prepare, you want to wait and listen to basically what the game is telling you, the information. For example, Genji says a voice line. You hear what the ultimate is, right? Like, you know, McCree's going to say it's high noon. They're going to say something, right? There's going to be some sort of audio cue or something that's going to play whenever you hear an ultimate. And because of that, prepare, you just wait. You're just listening. One of the biggest tips I give to all players is to never listen to music while they're trying to play the game because, you know, there's so much information that you get from listening that it's really important. So as you can see, this is where I'm talking about. I'm basically positioning myself around here. So there's this little pillar kind of that protects me. And if I use my beat, I can use it around this corner or I can use it around this corner. I have the option to choose depending on where my team is most. One thing that's kind of nice about your beat is that there's this like little window of a second where after you drop the beat, you can move and still apply the aura to somebody. So if they're really far away, you can actually give them the beat if you just get to them in their line of sight quickly enough. So here, I'm doing my best to peel this Winston. I use a good heal boost on my Zarya, but the ults just weren't enough. I believe the enemy team just had a complete, like, ultimate advantage. They had the Primal Rage, they had the Nano Blade. Even though I used beat pretty nicely, it just didn't compare because we didn't have more ults. And because of that, they had... So as you can see right here, like... we were coming up on a grav. We had Shatter. The only ults that we even really used was mine and Symmetra's, which just wasn't enough to win the fight compared to, I think they used 4 ults, right? Because I saw the Diva Bomb, Primal Rage, they definitely used Nano Blade, and maybe they used these two. But either way, I mean, that's just simple math, right? We only used 2 ults compared to their 4. There probably was maybe even a Pulse Bomb or Trans in there, I don't know. We had Shatter, didn't use it, very close to these 2 ults, but just quite not enough there. And so they kind of just overwhelmed us. One thing that I would like to talk about, though, as Lucio, is that if you identify it's a lost fight and you're basically bailing, which can be good. Like, obviously, right here, I'm able to get away, right? I speed out. I'm able to get a little damage. I boop. So basically, there's pros and cons to this play. So if I mess this up right here, my escape, because obviously we lost this fight, right? They used 4 ults, we're dead, that point is gone, there's no way I'm going to be able to get back in there, heal my 2 friends up, and be able to, you know, save it somehow. That's just not happening. So you got to make 2 decisions here, and it depends on the map. Do you go in there anyways, and do you try to heal them, and do you try to go for that clutch play? It's pretty much a suicide mission. It's just not going to work, right? You're going to die. The odds are like 90% chance this is not going to work. So there's a good point to this. It's good because if you do go in there and it's a loss and whatever, you're going to die with them. So what that means is you're going to respawn with them, and that's going to prevent staggering. So that can be pretty good. And so this play is generally the safe play to make, is actually go in there and do that. That's actually the safe play because you're not going to stagger yourself and you're going to die. And as long as you're on the point, they're going to have to kill you because they can't cap it without, you know, killing you. So that's kind of the good way. So the other thing that I do is I actually just tried to bail and escape. So basically the only thing that this does right here is it gives me more ult charge. So basically I'm able to do a little bit more damage. So as you can see by getting out, I think I was like at 20% or something, right? So I'm at 23% and I think I land a little bit left click damage in on the Winston. I'm able to get 10% to my ult. So basically that's the trade-off. This is the risk versus reward. You could potentially stagger yourself and die as you're escaping and they get a really big pick on you and then they're able to push in and take the point. And then it's not worth it at all. Or you can come out of it alive and have 10% onto your ult charge. So the pros and cons. Most of the time, I would say killing yourself and just dying with the team is definitely the safe way to play. If you're able to escape and you got the moves and you have the movement and you're able to, like, you have the confidence in saying this guy isn't going to kill me, I'm just going to be able to speed just right out of here, then you could probably get out with a little extra ult charge, which can be pretty nice for you and work for your next ult. Because like I said earlier, your ult charge generation is very slow. And if your team's not taking damage, they're not grouped up, it's going to be really hard to get another beat. And generally the enemy team, if they have something like a Genji, they're going to get their Dragon Blade a lot quicker than your beat in those instances. So right here, the speed boost, it might look a little strange, but what happened here is my McCree actually used his ultimate. So the enemy team is flanking, and they're in. My tanks are going to engage them, and as you can see, you could tell the high noon is coming out because this little boy is coming out. And so what I'm doing here is you can provide your speed boost, not only help your tanks, you can use it to help your DPS players with pretty slow ults. So you could speed boost a McCree High Noon, you could speed boost a Reaper Death Blossom. If you speed boost a Reaper Death Blossom, Reaper ult is very slow, and adding a speed boost on top of that and to this, it just helps out a ton. So this allows him to get different angles, especially if the enemy is able to like get around this pillar or something. So speed boosting there is really good, and it just makes for a really easy cleanup fight for us, which is good because I don't have my ultimate yet and we really need to. One thing to focus on here, if you're really close to your ultimate, as a support hero, this doesn't go like just for Lucio, but this is just as a support in general, you always want to try and charge ult. So if the enemy team doesn't have a Widowmaker or a Hanzo, something that can one-shot you. Like, if you look at the enemy, this is like their spawn door right here, right? Obviously, you don't want to be peeking and shooting this spawn door. But since I'm 20% to my next ult charge, and because the enemy team doesn't have a one-shot mechanic such as Hanzo or Widowmaker, all I need to do is sit here, do some AD spam. They're not going to be able to one-shot me, and even if I do take damage from like some Genji Shuriken, it's not going to kill me. Then I can just use my speed boost and then just hightail it out of there and, you know, just use my heal and get more ult charge that way too. So being able to be cocky and shoot at the spawn door is usually a bad move, but if the enemy doesn't have one-shot mechanics and you can sit there and you have your speed boost and you're really close to your ultimate, then it's very smart to do that. One of the things that a high-level support player is always looking to do, especially Lucio, is they're always looking for ways to get their ult. Ult farming is extremely important for a support player. As you can see there, I'm just using a heal boost to get to my ult. I'm at 97% now. I'm just looking to get this beat for this next fight because I know that they're going to have their ultimates. See right here, the Genji dashes in. He has his Nano Blade. I knew that he was going to have it, and that ult farming really paid off. I mean, when did I get my beat? Let's look exactly when I got it. I got my beat right here. 1, 2, there you see right there. I get my ultimate right when this look at this. I get my ult right here, and then bam, do you see that Genji just pop up? See him in that little corner there? You saw him. So if I didn't go to that spawn door and I didn't shoot and I didn't use my heal boost on my team right there, I would not have this defensive ult to cancel out his Nano Blade. This is why every little point of ult charge is so important as Lucio. And as much as you should be peeling your team, like obviously booping the Genji is so good because if he just used his dash and you boop him, then he's not going to be able to reach his target and hit anybody with his slashes. So always wait for the Genji to dash, and as soon as he dashes, go in to boop him, and then he's going to be easily kiteable, especially if you're giving your whole team speed boost. But it's just so important to try and get your ult. You should always be looking for ult charge, like 100%. Every little bullet damage that you do, every tiny little green meatball that you shoot out, even though it's not going to get a kill, that is ult charge that you need. And always look for really big heal boosts on your team to try and get some ult charge that way. It's a lot better than just kind of using the passive heal, obviously, especially if they're all very low. What you can do is if your other support already has their ultimate, or if it's something that isn't as important, such as like a Mercy Valkyrie or like a Moira ult that doesn't really have as much value as a Lucio beat, try to communicate them with voice chat. Be like, hey, Mercy, instead of healing our main tank, could you let me just use a heal on him instead? And I'll be able to get my ult quicker that way. Just communicating to your other healer to just communicate and be like, I want to get ult charge, let me heal them instead, can go a long way and help you build towards that next defensive ult. Oh, here's another thing that I haven't done a whole lot this game. I didn't really do it for much here, but if an enemy teammate dies, go to spawn and pick him up, provide a little taxi service, give him a nice little speed boost right there. Taxi service with Lucio is extremely important. I mean, in times like this where we're all full health, there's no reason to sit there and get any heal juice. You're not going to heal anybody, they're all full health. And it's very rough to get like your ultimate that way. So use your speed boost on anybody that's dead, and you don't have to even use the speed boost. Just use the passive speed aura and help them get to the fight a little quicker, help them get in better positioning. I think this is more important for defense than it is offense, because on defense, you need to get set up, and getting set up and getting in good positioning can mean a lot more than it can on offense. Taxi serving is just as important. Also, if you see enemy abilities every single time, you know that's going to happen. I mean, just look at this Reinhardt. You know he's going to try to charge, right? It's such a giveaway. And so it's obvious that you can just boop him out of the way, bam, and he has no value. And while he has no value, this is also wasted time, because this is basically 2 seconds of him charging that he has now wasted. And now these are 2 more seconds he's going to be wasted trying to push into our team. So in combination, that's like 4 or 5 seconds that this guy is doing nothing in this team fight that we're obviously losing because we're down players. They're on the point. It's a very bad situation. And so 5 seconds of the main tank not swinging his hammer or holding right click shielding his team is a lot of value. And all it took was just your boop. Look, your boop's already on cooldown and he's all the way over here and he's going to travel. And also while he's charging, you're able to get a lot of free damage on him too. So being able to boop people just creates so much more space and disruption. And see right there, we're able to boop him again. Now, not only is he completely out of the fight, he's booped all the way in this corner, he's also sleeping. And luckily I missed my shots there, which is really good because now he's just going to stay asleep, which helps give us a huge chance fighting and picking off of these players over here. And then we can deal with the Reinhardt later. And that's what Lucio is really great at. He's basically really good at just disrupting the enemy team, wasting their abilities, and wasting their time. So this Lucio beat was okay. It wasn't that great. I don't think I really needed to use it. At this point, we were okay in this situation. So we used a Grav on Zarya. So the Zarya was dead. There's still a Reinhardt behind us. There's a Zenyatta here. There's a Junkrat Tire coming at. The Junkrat Tire is going to get a kill on us.